Very good morning. This podcast is brought to you by Resonate International with a mission to leverage knowledge worldwide. The topic today is Russia-Ukraine conflict. The question is, how will it end and what is the way out? Let's freshen up on the background to this conflict. Ukraine, the second largest country in Eastern Europe after Russia, has been a part of the erstwhile Soviet Union and a member of the Warsaw Pact nations. With the dissolution of Soviet Union, it declared its independence in 1991. It has a population of 47 million. 78% are ethnic Ukrainians, 17% are Russians, which constitute the largest minority in Ukraine. Geographically, Ukraine is bordered by Belarus to the north, Russia to the east, the Sea of Azov and the Black Sea to the south, Moldova and Romania to the southwest, and Hungary, Slovakia and Poland to the west. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea, which was a part of Ukraine, a peninsula on the north coast of Black Sea, about 27,000 kilometers in size, with 80% population speaking Russian and thus pro-Russian. This move was condemned by all and has not been recognized by the international community till date. Ukraine, concerned with its future vulnerability, leaned towards West for support. This infuriated Russian President Putin, for whom Ukraine, as a part of the erstwhile Soviet Union, was attempting to drift away against his dream to one day re-establish the Union as it existed in days gone by. This finally led to the armed invasion of Ukraine by Russian forces in February of 2022. From north through Belarus, where they had been assembled by Russia in the disguise of having joint military exercises with Belarus, a close ally of Russia. This invasion failed to succeed as per Russian plan to capture the Kyiv, capital city of Ukraine. Ukraine had decided to fight back. This part was not anticipated by Russia, which had thought of an easy overthrow in Kyiv. As Ukrainian public and armed forces started war preparations to fight the invading army, President Putin decided to withdraw his army on the same route they had moved in from north. President Putin then planned to take revenge and then decided to invade Ukraine now from its own land borders with Ukraine from northeast, east and south. This was named Special Military Operation. President Putin announced that this operation was to protect the people of the Russian-controlled breakaway republics. He also claimed that they had been facing humiliation and genocide from Kyiv regime. Western countries, NATO, EU and US all came together to offer military aid to Ukrainian armed forces who had decided to fight back and preserve the independence and sovereignty of their nation. This war, unprecedented since World War II, has since taken huge toll and is still raging all across the 600-kilometer Russia-Ukraine border, with about 25% of Ukrainian territory estimated to be now under Russian control, including some major cities. The fight back has been remarkable for Ukraine, holding up against mighty and superior Russian army has not been easy. The consequences, however, have been severe. About 6.5 million Ukrainians have fled to neighboring countries. About 3.5 million are internally displaced. About 20,000 plus civilians have been killed and injured. About 41,000 square miles of Ukrainian territory stands now occupied by Russia. As per intelligence agencies, Russian casualties are estimated to be around 5.5 lakh plus. Ukrainian figures, though not available, could also be as high. Huge loss of men and material has occurred on both sides. Russia has lost almost 8,000 plus tanks, 15,000 plus armored fighting vehicles, equal number of artillery systems, 360 plus aircrafts, 320 plus helicopters, 12,000 plus UAVs, 28 naval ships, and so on. The war, however, still rages on, with military hardware supplies pouring into Ukraine as well as into Russia from their respective well-wishers. New alliances are emerging as this conflict continues. This conflict, rooted in personal ambitions, covert operations, historical tensions, territorial disputes, and political differences, has resulted in significant human, economic, and geopolitical consequences. As of now, the situation remains complex and complicated, dangerous and explosive, with the potential to go out of hand even with slight further escalation, as positions are hardening and battle lines are getting drawn already. Let's look at the three broad situations which emerge. First is the military stalemate and the human toll. The front lines have seen little change in recent months, indicating a military stalemate. Russian forces hold significant portion of eastern Ukraine, including Donetsk and Luhansk, while Ukrainian forces are continuing to defend key areas and conduct counter-offensives based on support received from Western allies. The economic impact on Ukraine's economy has been massive. 35% contraction since the conflict began. The infrastructure damage is estimated to be over $100 billion. Key industries of Ukraine, agriculture and manufacturing, both have suffered. Similarly, Russia faces substantial economic sanctions from West. GDP is contracting. Sanctions have targeted key sectors including energy, finance and technology. Russia's ability to access international markets and seek finance have been crippled. The third situation which emerges is international response so far. The international community remains divided. United States and European Union with NATO have provided substantial military and financial aid to Ukraine, amounting to over $100 billion. Conversely, countries like China and India have maintained a more neutral stance, calling for diplomatic solutions while continuing economic engagements with Russia. Countries like Iran, China, and North Korea have even come forward to support Russia militarily. The future of Russia-Ukraine conflict remains uncertain for sure, with multiple possible trajectories. Each scenario carries significant implications. The stalemate and protracted conflict as it continues is not good for anyone. Increased international involvement is also becoming a strategic nightmare for everyone. A negotiated settlement is possible. Ukrainian victory or defeat both have serious repercussions. Russian escalation is possible. Partition and frozen conflict also can be a possibility. Looking at all above, what conclusion can really be drawn? The diplomatic efforts must get initiated again, with focus on achieving a temporary first and sustainable later peace amongst the two warring factions, while addressing the underlying issues driving this conflict. The best course to start would be for President Putin of Russia to take an initiative and declare a unilateral ceasefire immediately and personally invite Ukraine for a direct dialogue at the highest level in a neutral location. India could be a very good choice to host such a summit. Russia must realize that it has been wrong to begin with, and it is always good to correct things when time and opportunity both are possible. The scope of these summit level talks can then be expanded to bring in well-wishers from each side and to take things forward for a broader understanding and a possible agreement under an international framework through which Russia must be honorably brought back into the mainstream in exchange of its gesture of goodwill towards Ukraine and its people as a sovereign nation and as a neighbor. Peace, prosperity in the region and in the world shall depend on such success which is possible. Good luck and best wishes. Thank you very much for listening.